Hello, my name is Liz and welcome to the Tiny Treatery. Last week I gave a little teaser at the end of my video and I said, and next week, teaser, something else will be winning. Comment below if you have a guess what it is. Well, the answer, as you probably guessed already, is love. Love is winning. Oh my god, love wins. As it is Pride Month, I came up with what I think is a really cute idea for a cake. And it's a coming out cake. Honestly, this probably has been done before, but I don't want to know if it has. I want to think that I'm original. I'm not stealing this. I came up with it out of my own mind, separately and independently from anybody else that also has come up with this. Anyway, the basic idea is that you decorate the cake on the outside however you want. I'll be doing mine just with the Pride rainbow colors. And then on the inside, the layers are colored as the flag that you identify with the most. If you consider yourself to identify with a Pride flag, that is. Pretty much everybody that watches my videos knows me, and this is not gonna be a surprise to like any of them because this is not news. It's a label that I've been using for like 2.5 years. But for the sake of mystery in cinema, I'm not gonna tell you which flag that is for me, and I'm just gonna make the cake and then we'll do the reveal at the end. But right now, as usual, I'll show the recipe on screen, both with the original yield and the tiny yield, it's a vanilla cake, and meet you in the kitchen. Welcome to the kitchen. So I don't have any Pride apparel because gray is my favorite color and I don't tend to wear very colorful things. But I have a makeshift solution to this problem. Okay, let's proceed. So this recipe consists of cake flour, salt, baking powder, baking soda, butter, sugar, eggs with additional egg white, vanilla extract, and buttermilk, which I never buy because I will never use as much as is in the container, no matter how small the container is. So as always, I make the makeshift buttermilk combination with 15/16 part milk and 1/16 part lemon juice, which comes from the fact that if you want to make a cup of it, you do 1 tablespoon and then enough milk to fill a cup, which would be 15 more tablespoons. So I just do that ratio no matter the size I'm doing. So first things first, let's get measuring. Okay, everything is measured out. Butter, sugar, egg, vanilla, flour, salt, baking soda, baking powder, buttermilk. So pretty much just like any cake recipe, cream the butter and sugar, add in the egg and vanilla, whisk together the dry ingredients and then add them in, mixing just until combined. And then in this recipe, you add in the buttermilk at the end and then mix that until it's just combined. Then I will evenly divide this batter and dye it into the color. Then I will evenly divide this batter into the number of layers that I need, dye each layer, and then bake them. But I will not show you the dyeing process because it would give away the flag that I'm doing, and I want it to be revealed at the end when I cut into the cake because that is the concept. But let's mix up the batter. The oven's already preheated actually, so I need to get to it. So some of the layers are baking now, but I can't do it all at once because I don't have enough little cake pans to accommodate the layers that I'm doing. But in the meantime, it's been a while. Hello from me from the past. I'm gonna make the buttercream now that I'll use to frost and decorate this little cake that we're making. It's actually the first thing I'm doing because I hate doing it, and I'll be really excited to just have it all ready to go for me when I finish baking the cakes, which in the context of this video should already be done. I probably won't show much of the process because it's boring, but I'll give you a little rundown just in case you want it. First, I weigh the butter that I'm using. I will be using 2 sticks of butter. For those of you that don't know, this is the kind of butter that you find west of the Rockies. They're called Western Stubbies. And I did not know that because I am originally from Ohio and we don't have the Western Stubbies over in Ohio. But the history is, butter was originally sold in 1-pound bricks until a dairy in Elgin, Illinois started dividing it into 4 pieces. All the Midwest dairies used this Elgin mold to form butter. In the mid-1900s, the West Coast started producing butter, but they didn't have access to the same mold, so they created their own press with a unique shape that's now known as Western Stubbies. So if you live in the US and you ever move across the country and you get confused about why the butter looks different, that's why. But fear not, 1 stick of butter is still the same amount of butter, East and West Coast, regardless. So like I said, weigh my 2 butter sticks. And they weigh 222 grams together. Then cream the butter in the mixer until light and fluffy. And in order to do this, make sure that it is softened to room temperature. As you do this, you will likely need to scrape the edge of the bowl so that the beater can actually access it. Once you have your light and fluffy butter, it's time to add in the powdered sugar. Now, as I said before, I weighed my 2 butter sticks and it came out to be 222 grams. So then I put approximately 2 to 2.5 times that weight in powdered sugar. And I do it in 2 stages. So it's really like however much the butter weighed and then however much the butter weighed again. If you really want smooth, perfect icing, you would sift it. But I'm too lazy to do that today, so I'm not going to. It really just depends on my mood, whether I'm gonna go through the trouble of sifting it or not. And my mood today says no. Be sure to start the mixer slowly so you don't poof sugar everywhere. By the way, if you don't have a scale, 1 stick of butter requires about 2 cups of powdered sugar to make this American buttercream that I'm making. Before I put the second batch of powdered sugar in, I put some vanilla in and a tiny little bit of salt to like cut the sweetness. And you know, I should measure them, but I just don't. I don't want to waste a dish. If I were making this for other people and I cared more, then I probably would be more careful about how much I'm putting in, but it's just for me, so I don't care. Note that real vanilla will affect the color. If you want perfectly beautiful white icing, you might want to get imitation vanilla, but also if you want perfectly beautiful white icing, you should probably be making your buttercream out of shortening and not butter. Or maybe dyeing it white. Don't know if that works though, but it might. By the way, a benefit to the weighing method is that you can put any combination of butter and shortening or whatever fat you want in your frosting and not have to get too worried about the specific volume measurements of each. You just put them in and come up with your combined weight value, and that's what you base the powdered sugar on. Anyway, so at this point, I have some buttercream, but it is incredibly stiff. So now, I will add some milk to make it a little easier to work with. Heavy cream might be a little better because it's richer, but I didn't feel like buying milk and heavy cream for this cake, so I'm just gonna use milk for both the frosting and the cake. Should measure it, but again, don't want to use a dish, so I'm just gonna pour some in and hope the consistency's okay. So better to be careful and do a little at a time because as you probably know, you can always add more, but you can't take it away. I mean, realistically you could. You could just put more powdered sugar in to help it stiffen up, but you know. And now I have buttercream that is smoother and slightly easier to work with. I think this is about the consistency I want for the decoration portion of the cake, but for the actual white layer of buttercream that's gonna go on as my base, I'll need to make this even thinner to make it easier to spread, but I'll deal with that later, off camera. Obligatory taste test. Good enough to me. I don't know where this is gonna be in the video because I have filmed nothing else yet, but I guess back to future me, who is at some point in the process. New day, same shirt. I have completed the base of the buttercream upon which I will put the rainbow decorations, but I did it off camera so as to not reveal the colors of the layers. So now I have this remaining buttercream that I didn't use for the base. So I will divide this into 6 portions and dye them red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple. And then I'm gonna use the spatula painting technique for decor, I think. I kind of have 2 different ideas in mind for what I'm gonna do depending on how well I'm able to execute what my vision is. So it's gonna be a surprise to both of us, honestly. So no matter what the final result is, I'm excited about this method because all you do is take the spatula, dip it in the frosting, and then paint on a little glob of color. And I have an idea for what I want it to be, but I don't know if I'm talented enough to do it. So I might change the game plan in the middle of doing it, but the best part is that I don't have to use any piping bags, which is great because I hate filling piping bags and it's a mess, and I hate cleaning piping tips after I'm done using them. But this way, I'm just gonna spackle around like it is actually a painting canvas and see what we end up with. No matter what, it'll be cute and rainbow, but it might not be as cute as I wanted. So let's decorate. This simultaneously went better and worse than I thought it was going to. I'm glad that I managed to pretty much get all of the colors on the top because I was worried that I was going to run out of room. I don't know about this big expanse of vast, perfectly smooth white. I kind of like it, kind of hate it. I considered dragging the red down in light lines to kind of cover that, but I don't want to mess with it. For my first time doing the paint spatula technique, I'm pretty happy with it. So now that the outside is decorated, it's time to cut into it and come out. Yay! Bye, Pride! Okay, I've taken a shower, put on a different gray shirt, have my gay accoutrement, and the cake has been cut into, and the deed has been done, and all is revealed. So here's a little slice I have. I think it looks so beautiful lying on its side like this, with the rainbow perfectly laid out. I did cut it in the most optimal place to get that, and no other slice will be as beautiful as this one in that respect, so yay. The flag itself, pink, purple, blue. I tried to make the purple layer a little thinner than the other two because in the actual flag it is much thinner than the other 2 layers. I wish the pink and purple were a little more obviously distinct, but you know, it's pretty good. I'm satisfied. So not much to expect with the taste because it's just a simple vanilla cake, but you know, let's dig in. Delicious and colorful and brilliant. As with the red velvet cake, I don't remember about the chocolate one, but it feels like it might be a little dry, but it also might just be because I leave it in the fridge overnight, and that maybe just is what happens to cakes when they're in the fridge. Even though I frosted it with the buttercream before I did that, so it wasn't like totally exposed to the air or anything, but I don't know. But that's okay. It's still very good and worth eating. And I think it's a very good recipe, so I don't know if you know this, but as always, as long as I'm not doing dessert of the month, the recipes are linked in the description if you want to try and make this vanilla cake. Also, it's kind of getting annoying. If you're worried about what's going to happen to the rest of this buttercream, I took a field trip after I finished decorating and before I took my shower and cut into the cake. And on that field trip, I went to procure a particular item. You're very familiar with this item, but you might not have ever thought to use it in this way. Pretzels. I am telling you, I will evangelize all day about pretzels and icing, okay? If you haven't tried it, just do it. It will change your life. If you're baking a cake and you have leftover icing, dip some pretzels in it. It is the most amazing balance of salty and sweet. It's wonderful. In terms of my own life, pretzels and icing is not something that I came up with after I was like a baker and I had like icing leftovers. It was just something I did as a teenager with canned store-bought icing, which honestly, to me, that's the best version of this experience because that's the one that I'm used to, just some Pillsbury vanilla icing and some pretzels to dip in it. It's phenomenal, but this is a very close second. Anyway, happy Pride Month, everyone. I had a lot of fun conceiving the concept. I was really excited when I came up with the idea for this cake. I thought it was really cute, and I'm very pleased with how well the spatula frosting technique worked out for me since I'd never done it before. And it was really fun to cut into and see the bi-flag colors in the actual cake layers itself. So would have been a little more exciting if I was actually revealing this to somebody in real life, but most people I know already know anyway, so can't really do that. But revealing it to the fans is an experience worth having as well. So thanks for watching, happy Pride Month, and subscribe for more baking adventures.